Hey guys, I've been taking it easy for a few days because I've been having problems with my elbow, and I got to go see the doctor tomorrow bright and early. And I don't know if he'll send me to a specialist for my elbow or what, but I've been having problems with it. That's been going down the entire arm to the wrist and affecting the hand. And it's hard for me to even lift a cup of coffee with it. I can't even pick up a mug. And so I just been really nursing this arm and taking it easy. And but I thought today, being I don't have much going on, that I would do this video and mention that there's going to be an upcoming podcast that I'm going to be featured on, and I'm looking forward to it. This guy that has this podcast has a very fascinating channel, and I've been watching an awful lot of his content. His name is Jeff Morrow, and he's scheduled me for April 20th at 8 p.m. And it's roughly an hour long. Some of his podcasts can run an hour and a half, but typically it's an hour. And I'm looking forward to doing this podcast because I like talking about true things that have happened only to help other people that are very curious in the topic. And his podcast is about NDEs, near-death experience. And I had one. And technically I had two. But the first one that I had back in the 80s, I never left my body. But that's when I experienced that angel that stayed with me for 7 nights. And I told that story, and I will see if Jeff would be interested in doing a secondary podcast with me so I'm able to tell that story. It's one of the most, if not the most profound thing that's ever happened to me in my life, even outside of the NDE, and the NDE was pretty profound. So I'm going to be telling my story on there, and then when he's done saving it and uploads it, he'll share the link with me, and then I'll share the link with you guys. But I wanted to talk about some things that kind of go with that, and it's something I've never been able to explain. I've had so many unexplainable things happen in my life, and it leaves me wondering, how is it possible? How does it work? How does it do what it does? I really don't know. And I'm not the type of person that cares one way or the other if anybody were to believe what I say, or if anybody were to think that I was nuts because of it. That it does not bother me one way or the other. I say what I say and tell the truth. And if somebody gets something out of it, it's great. And if not, then, oh well. I mean, because the things that have happened throughout my life, I don't even know what to think about it. And the one thing I can say about the NDE that I had back in 2014 during a surgical procedure, gave me kind of a trade-off. And what I mean by that is that it enhanced an ability that I already had, but it also took away something that I already had. And the ability that I had that got enhanced was the ability to see things before they happen and to see events in the future that come true 100%. And I don't know why that is. I don't know where does that come from. I don't know why me. Why am I showing these things? Well, after that NDE experience, that only became enhanced, greatly enhanced. And I don't just have mundane, regular dreams anymore. I don't dream anymore. I only get visions. That's all I get anymore. But what it took from me is memory. My memory now is so much worse than it was prior to the NDE, which leaves me to believe or think, though I can't prove this aspect of it, that the NDE caused some form of brain damage in that part of the brain where memory is stored, how memory functions. I think that possibly that part of whatever lobe of the brain is responsible for that, it got damaged somehow, because my memory is very noticeably worse, very worse. And sometimes it bothers me, but nothing I can do about it. But the ability to always see something before it happens, what makes it different with me is that I've been able to prove it to people. It's something I can actually prove to people. And how do I do that? It's because I tell them exactly what I see. So when it happens, they know it was foretold. I'll give you an example. Back in 1988, when I was just a teenager, I was at my friend's house, and his dad and his uncle were out in the front yard. Now, this is out in the country in a very small town. And his dad and uncle had a chainsaw out, they had some ropes, they had a come along, and they were going to cut down a tree that was half dead in the front yard, and it was a big tree. And I was there with Joe and his sister Kim, and my girlfriend was there at the time, Kathy, the girl I was dating back then. And the four of us are in the yard, and we're watching his dad and uncle prepare to take down this tree. And that's when I stepped forward, because we were kind of like over here on the corner of the house, and his dad and uncle were doing what they were doing with this tree, preparing to cut it down. And I went over and I walked up to Joe's dad, and I told him, I says, if you cut this tree down the way you're going to cut it down, I said, it's not going to go where you want it to go. I said, it's going to hit your house, but it will not hit the corner of the porch. It's going to hit the concrete slab. There was a foundation and then a cement slab that kind of overhung about 8 or 9 inches on two sides of this foundation. And then there were those black, like wrought iron supports that go up to the roof of the porch. This was a farmhouse. And there was no railing. It was just a flat concrete slab with these square black wrought iron supports. There was 3 of them. One at the corner, one in the middle, and one towards the steps that went up to the front door. And I told him, I said, it's gonna come towards the house. It's not gonna hit the top of the roof of the porch. But I said, it's gonna take the entire corner of this concrete slab off. And on that corner, I literally walked over to it and put my index finger on it, and I drew a diagonal line, and I said, it's going to snap it right here. And of course, my friends were giggling. My girlfriend was smirking, and his dad said, we're going to drop this out in the yard. It's not going to come anywhere near my house. He says, step back. We're going to take this tree down. So I went back over and I joined my girlfriend and my friends. And he started up the chainsaw, and we stood there and watched his dad and uncle cut into this tree. And as Joe's dad was cutting into the tree, the uncle was putting tension on this big rope, and they also had a come along on it. Well, as they cut the tree, it didn't just, fall. It twisted. And he got the chainsaw out, and he started to get away to the road side of the tree, because this tree was right between the road and the front of the house. And it started to twist, and the whole canopy's moving, and that's when we were backing up. And I knew what was going to happen. And as this tree twisted, the canopy became more heavier towards the house side, and it started to fall towards the house. And you could hear, no, 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 no. And this tree fell right between the corner of the house and where we were standing, leaving Joe's uncle and father on the roadside of the tree. And all of us were watching this like it was happening in slow motion. And as this tree twisted and turned and the weight caused it to go the way I said it was going to go, it just missed the corner of that porch by inches. And as it hit the ground, it rolled over, and the one big limb coming off the side of the tree that was kind of like bent, that elbow hit right on the corner of that concrete slab and snapped it right off exactly where I drew that imaginary line with my index finger. And all of them were in disbelief because my friends heard what I was saying before the chainsaw got started, what I was telling Joe's dad. And all I said is, I told you. I told you. And he came over and he looked at it and he says, my God, he says, that broke exactly like you said it was. He says, how did you know that? I says, I don't know. I just knew that was going to hit your porch. And it was going to the only damage it would do was just break off a big chunk of triangular piece of concrete. It was like that thick. And it broke it off clean, a perfect triangle, right where I showed them. Matter of fact, the break was right in front of the one corner bolt of that black wrought iron that was bolted to the concrete. It snapped it off right in front of that. Did nothing to the house, nothing to the porch, just that corner snapped off exactly what I told them would happen. I said, that's the only thing that's going to happen. It's going to fall towards your house, but it's going to take this corner off. And they were expecting it to go out into the yard. They did not know the tree was going to twist and do what it did and fall in the direction it did. I've always been able to prove to witnesses when they hear me say something like that. And Joe said, you told my dad that was going to happen, and that's exactly what happened. And that's how I've been able to prove it. Just like when I did on my YouTube channel quite a while back when I said 3 military jets in formation were going to fly down my lake from north to south. And then last year, to show, to honor the first responders and the medical community that were treating patients for COVID, flew down in formation with 3 jets. And I did videos about that and talked about that long before it happened. It never happened before that, and it never happened after that. But I saw that happening a year before it happened. And so I documented it, and I've got the video of the jets flying down the lake on my channel. It's on my channel, the 3 jets, and they're military, flying from north to south right down our 16-mile long lake. I saw it before it happened. And so things show me things like vehicles I'm going to own, people I'm going to meet. It'll even tell me what the person's name is before I meet them. And I've done videos about this. I've talked about this to people. And I've seen houses that I've never been to before and then went to them and they were exact as I was shown. But my near-death experience enhanced that to where it's more profound now. And it also gave me the ability, I don't know how, I don't know why, I don't know why it even needs to be, but I can hear radio stations before I tune into them. With the radio off, I can hear the commentator giving like the weather report where he says, well, today we're going to be in the high of 84. Tonight will be mainly clear, a low of 65. Tomorrow there will be a 20% chance of rain. I can hear the whole forecast. Then I can hear it go to commercial. and then I will hear it go to the next song that they play, and if I turn on the radio, that song is playing. If I tuned in right after they gave the weather report and stuff, and it's like, well, now that song's playing, and I just missed the weather report, I can actually hear it. It's faint, very, very faint, but I can hear it. I can actually hear what the radio is playing without turning it on. And this happens mostly at night. And I hear it plain as day. Plain as day. Almost like my mind becomes the radio and I'm the receiver. And instead of the radio transmitting it, my mind can transmit it. And I can hear it in my head. I can hear it. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm just being honest. I can do that. I don't wear jewelry. You guys don't ever see me wear rings, bracelets, necklaces, or anything. Jewelry irritates me, and I'll break out into a rash, and it'll discolor my skin. And I can't wear a watch because I stop every watch I wear. I've had, back when I did landscaping, I tried to wear wristwatches, and I would always stop them before lunch even came around. They would stop mid-morning. I would put brand new batteries in them, brand spanking new batteries in them, and they would stop. Within like an hour to 2 hours after I put it on my wrist, I would kill the watch. And if I took the watch off, the watch would start up again. I don't know how you explain that, but I've got that ability to do that. I've got the ability to do water dowsing and find water underground using a willow. Just strange things that I never asked for. The ability to be able to see spirits, to be able to sense things when something is around me, be able to pick up on different people if they've got like negative energy, positive energy, basic stuff like that. I have the ability to instantly gain the trust of children and animals. They flock to me for some reason. It's like I'm a magnet. I've had people, when I've been at their house, they'd be like, oh my God, my dog has never been that way with anybody. Or my cat would never get on your lap. You know, and it's just animals take to me. They just come to me and take to me. Like that animal has known me all its life. And like I've always been around that animal. And it's the same way with children. Children just take to me. And I just can't explain any of this stuff, but it's just an ability that I have. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from, what the purpose, mainly the purpose. I don't know what the purpose is. To be able to see into the future and to be able to predict and tell people, you know, I'm going to buy this car. I'm going to end up owning this vehicle I just saw. Or I'm going to meet this person and this is their name. I'm going to go to this house and this is the color of it. And it's got black shutters and it's got porches on the back of the house. And I could explain the yard and the garage and even the weather of when I'll be there. I'll be like, it'll be 78 degrees and sunny when we go to this house. And it's just phenomenal how accurate it is. It is never wrong. It's never off. It is dead on accurate. Everything about it accurate. And it's uncanny. And I have that ability and I don't know why. I don't know why. But this is why I'm doing this podcast, is because I want to tell people about what I experienced when I died during a surgery, what it was like for me. Because a lot of people that talk about their experiences, they're so different. Some can be similar and very much alike, and then there's others that are just so the opposite, just so drastically different. So I wonder, is it dictated by the type of personality you are? Is it your energy? It's what makes it what it is. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. But I'm going to talk on Jeff's podcast what I experienced, what it was like for me. And if he has me back for my angel story, because that has always been like my most favorite thing that's ever happened to me. It was fascinating. It was just unbelievable what that whole week in the hospital was like with that angel. And it was just mind-blowing. And these things that have happened are as fresh and recent in my mind as if it happened just this morning. And it never fades. It never goes away. And I can go back and reflect, and it's like I'm there again. And it was that profound, that profound. So these are the kind of things that I feel compelled. I literally feel compelled to share these types of experiences. Not, and it's kind of strange because it's not related to my everyday life. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with camping, fishing, the outdoors, not my hobbies. It really has nothing to do with any of that, but I feel compelled because I have a platform to share things that this really needs to be shared because it has significance. It's more important than my hobbies. It matters. It matters so much more. So that's why I'm sharing it, and that's why I like doing this kind of thing, because I feel like I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing with telling people about these occurrences, because they continue to happen, and it always leaves me wondering what's next. What's the next vision going to be? What am I going to see that's going to transpire in the future? Whatever it might be. I just know that there will be more, and I don't know what it will be. So it's kind of exciting because you just never know. But it's not something I asked to do. It's not something I thought I would ever be able to do. And I don't know what does it, where it comes from, the reason, none of it. It just is. It just is. And so when he shares the link with me after he's done like editing or whatever it is he needs to do with this podcast we're doing, and then makes it viewable and shares the link with me, I'll do a video and put a link down below so you guys can watch or listen to the podcast if you want. I'm just kind of taking this week off because we're having gloomy, cool, rainy, nasty weather. So I don't have any camping planned for this week. Really not sure what I'm doing this week. I got to find out tomorrow about my arm. So I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.